All right, so this is a complete mern stack voting or multi-election app. Okay, there's a complete mern stack voting application that I have for you, and it has a lot of features that you need as a full stack developer. And putting this on your portfolio is going to help you a lot. All right, so some of the features, we have a fully functioning authentication system that we are going to build from scratch. We have the voting or the multi-election functionality as well. As you can see, it comes with a light and a dark theme, right? And also, we are going to make this completely responsive, guys. All right, so let me quickly walk you through the finished project. So once you come to the website, of course, at the end of the project, we're actually going to deploy it. Okay, once I teach you how to actually create this, we will deploy it to the internet so that it is actually available to everyone around the world. All right, so once you visit the website, of course, you are going to sign in, but if you don't have an account, you go ahead and then you sign up. So for instance, I'm going to sign up Dinah. So we need a full name here, Dinah I, and the email is going to be dinah@gmail.com, and the password, of course, we have some checks. So if I go ahead and then submit without these fields, I get filling all fields, right? And even let's go ahead and actually I'm going to type in a password. So the password here is going to be Dinah123. Dinah123, and I should be signed up. Okay, so that worked. I actually wanted to show you some more checks. So for instance, if I showed sign in Enoch@gmail.com. Actually, let me use Dinah@gmail.com. Okay, now remember, Dinah is already taken. Okay, Dinah@gmail.com is already taken. It already exists in a database, so this shouldn't work, right? And Enoch123, that's the password. And for instance, if I try and then submit this, we get filling all fields. Of course, I'm going to do Enoch. I get email already exists. Okay, this email, that is Dinah, has been claimed already by someone else, right? And for the passwords, if I make this enoch@gmail.com, this does not exist, so this email should work. But now the passwords do not match, right? So if you try and then submit this, we get passwords do not match. Okay, so these checks are in place as well, right? Now I'm going to go ahead and register Enoch. So the password is Enoch123. Yeah, I'll just make it Enoch for the name. I'll register, and we've been redirected here, and that means the registration was actually successful. Now let's go ahead and log in as one of the new users. So enoch@gmail.com, and if I enter a random password here, I'm going to get invalid credentials, but the password is actually Enoch123, and now I should be signed in. Okay, perfect. So you can see this is actually, as I said, a multi-election application. Okay, now don't mind the flag here. I'm actually going to correct that using the update. There's a fully CRUD application as well. Okay, so you have an admin that is able to perform all the CRUD functionalities like creating a new election, adding candidates, deleting election, deleting candidates, updating candidates, and all that. Okay, you just have to create a user that is going to do that, and I'm going to teach you how to do that in a second. All right, so once you log in, you have elections. As you can see, there have been 3 people who have voted in this election. Okay, so 2 people voted for Trump, 1 person voted for Kamala Harris. That's for the US presidential election. All right, and for the Ghanaian election, we have 2 votes so far. Okay, so right here, I can go ahead and participate. Actually, to show you what I'm saying or what I'm talking about the admin. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and log out. Okay, because if you log in as Enoch, let me go back and then show you Enoch@gmail.com. Enoch does not have admin privileges. Okay, so right here, if I go to elections, I cannot do anything. I cannot alter the election or edit it or update it or delete anything, right? So Enoch does not have any admin privileges. So I'm going to log out and log in as achiever at gmail.com. Okay. So the password is achiever123, right? Basically, once you get the source code, and this purposely for people who want to claim the source code for this project. Make sure you have a user. Once you get the source code, right? Make sure you have a user or you register a user. That's here. You come to sign up. Okay. And you sign a user up with an email of achiever at gmail.com. Okay. And this user, you can, of course, you can go ahead and the full name is going to be different if you want. You can have a different password and all that. Okay. But the email should be achiever at gmail.com. Make sure you do that. Okay. So this user that you create is going to be the admin. Okay. It's going to have all the admin privileges. All right. So now, since I've logged in as achiever at gmail.com, let's see what happens. If I come to elections, you can see that I can actually create an election here. And I can go ahead to actually edit this election. So for the title, for instance, I want this to be USA Presidential Elections 2024, right? And I can go ahead and instead of the Nigerian flag, I'm actually going to choose the US flag and I'll hit update election. And let's see what happens. And boom, we have the flag and the correct title. Okay. And I can also view the selection and then see the candidates that belongs to the selection. I can actually go ahead and add more candidates. For instance, I'm going to add who else is from the US here. Okay, Chase Oliver. I'm going to add Chase Oliver. And for the motto, I'll just put this and then submit. And Chase Oliver should be added to the candidates of the US presidential elections. Boom, and we have it. Okay. And also, everything is being saved in the database. Okay, so the images also are being stored on Cloudinary. They are being stored on the clouds. And I have a backup as well. So once we save in the cloud, we actually also save locally in this uploads folder right here. You can see we have the Chase Oliver image that was just uploaded. Okay, so you'll be checking on this and you'll see how it updates. Okay, but all the images on the website or in the application are actually being gotten from the Cloudinary cloud storage. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, I'm getting them from Cloudinary. I save them in Cloudinary for backup, which I get the link and then put them in the application. But for here, okay, so this is actually the backup. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So in case Cloudinary messes up in the future, I have all the images that all the images in the application should be here so that I can just upload them to a different cloud server. I hope that makes sense, guys. So for admins, of course, you can add candidates. You can actually add more elections. Okay. So far, we have only 2 elections, as you can see. So the admin, that is achiever@gmail.com, can add more election. So I can say Chinese presidential elections 2025 or whatever, and I can have a more description for the election, and I'm going to select this Chinese flag and submit. Okay, and boom, we have that. Okay, and now if we come to the results page to see the results, we have the Chinese election here. Okay, now if anyone tries to partake or participate in this election, we are going to get inactive election, and that is because there are no candidates for this election. Okay, so the admin, that is achiever@gmail.com, can come here and then update. Now notice for all the elections, you can see the candidates, sorry, the voters for that election as well. And as you can see, you can actually delete that election here as well. Okay, so you can go ahead. I'm going to do Jackma and I'll select Jackma and then add or submit. Okay, so we have Jackma added to this selection. Okay, so if we come back to the results and try to vote in this election, we have Jackma. Okay, now because he's the only candidate here, that's why it is so big, but you get the idea. All right, so for the US election, if you've already voted, now Achiever has already voted in this election. That is why we have this. Okay, so already voted, you are only permitted to vote once in this election. Please vote in another election or sign up. Okay, but you can see for here, that's the Ghana elections. Okay, for here too, Achiever voted. Now for this, that's the Chinese election, Achiever hasn't voted. That's why you can actually see the candidates to partake in this election. Okay, so those are the privileges that the admin has. Okay, and of course the admin can actually go ahead and delete the election and delete the candidates as well. You can see everything is being backed up or is being saved in the MongoDB database here as well. So you can see the elections that we have so far. We have 3 elections. We have the USA election, Ghana election, and the Chinese election. And as you can see, we have relationship between all the collections. Okay, you can see we have relationship between the election and the candidates, right? So you can see the US election has 5 candidates, and you can see their IDs here. And for the Ghana one, we have 3 candidates. You can see that relationship here. And even there are relationship or I created relationship between the election and the voters. Okay, so that is why a voter cannot vote twice in an election. Okay, so I have that relationship in place. We are going to make sure we have that relational database field when we are creating this project. And hopefully in a week or two, this tutorial should be up. The tutorial about this project should be up so that you can learn something from this as well. All right, now I'm going to log out and log in as one of the users that we created. So remember we created dina@gmail.com and the password was dina123. And now that, of course, Dana can partake or participate in these elections. So for instance, she can go ahead and vote for Chase Oliver. All right, so confirm vote. And thanks for your votes. Your vote is now added to your candidate's vote count. You will be redirected shortly to see the results. And programmatically, you are going to be redirected to the results page. And as you can see, Chase Oliver has 25% of the vote, and that is one vote. Okay, Donald Trump has 2, which is 50%, and Kamala Harris has 1. Okay, so of course, now since Diana has voted in this particular election, if she tries to vote again, let's see what happens. Already voted. Okay, so you are permitted to vote only once. Okay, and she can of course go ahead and participate in another election or a different election. For instance, the Ghana election, she can go ahead and vote for, John Dramani Mahama right here. She can vote. And thanks for your votes. We get that. And now you can see Dramani has 2 votes and Majid has 1 vote. Baumia doesn't have any votes. Okay, so that is how this works. Of course, if she tries to vote again, she's going to get already voted and she's not allowed to vote again. And of course, since she's not an admin, she doesn't have the updates of the election, the adding of the election, and all that. Okay, she can't even delete candidates. Okay, And of course, down here, you can see all the people that have voted in this particular election. All right. So, of course, this is the dark theme that I showed you how everything looks, right? That's how everything looks on the dark theme. And yeah. All right. Now, let me show you how responsive this is actually going to be. And for that, let me actually log back in as the admin, that is Achiever. And I'm going to go ahead and actually I want to try and delete one election. Okay, I'm going to delete the Chinese one. Yep. So I can delete the candidate first before I delete the election, or I can delete the election and all the candidates and every data that relates to the election is going to be deleted from the database. Okay, so if I delete this election, let's see what happens. Boom, it is deleted. Right. Perfect. All right. So I don't know. That's all for this project. Okay. That is all so far. That's all I can remember. I want to show you how responsive it is. So this is how it is going to look on mobile phones. Okay. So this is how it is going to look. Okay. So you have your voters down here. Everything is looking perfect. Let's go to the results page as well. This is how it's going to look. And I'm going to view this in the dark theme. Okay, so on dark theme, this is how it's going to look, right? And we can sign out. Okay, so that's it for this project, and I really hope you find it interesting to be subscribed for the tutorial, which should be coming up in a week or two. I'm not sure because I'm really tight these days. But if you want the source code, go ahead and claim it. I'm going to leave a link in the description. And make sure you support me if you have enough to, to help me with. Okay, you can go ahead. Once you are buying the source code, you can enter any amount that you want to buy the source code for. There's going to be a minimum amount, of course, but you can increase that just to give me some support. I'm really tired these days, so that would help. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in a tutorial. Peace. One thing, of course, I'm going to make sure all the instructions for how to run this application is included in the source code. Okay, so when you're buying the source code, you're going to have instructions on how to work around the whole thing. All right.